He's not that far off. In fact, statistically, if you look at first year as a quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier, first year as a starter, Garrett Nussmeier versus first year Joe Burrow, he's actually ahead of pace. What's going to be important here is the consistency. What's going to be important here is if you can do it week in and week out. If he can go out against, like, let's say Louisiana Tech this weekend and drop a 400-yard game on them to keep those numbers super beefed up. So it sounds ridiculous after week one of Nussmeier's second season as the starting quarterback to make those comparisons. But watch, week after week, game after game, that number will even out greatly. Speaking of Louisiana Tech coming up this weekend, Brian Kelly talked about the importance or his value, the value he puts on continuing to play in-state schools. Cut 7.
You know, obviously, from a standpoint of in-state, you know, we relish these opportunities to play in-state, but we also know that our opponent, this is the biggest game of their career for many of them. So we have to be prepared and certainly do the things that we need to do.
He mentioned that, and he actually went on to mention at a later point in the press conference, don't forget when LSU played Nichols, you got everything that Nichols had to offer out of that game. Everything every ounce of their being was put onto that football field, and it showed. And they had dudes that wanted it. Not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. That's what we saw against Nichols. So he's absolutely right. If you grew up in the state, if you played high school ball in the state, you want to be on that stage. Now, moving forward, with the SEC moving to a 9-conference game schedule, will there be room to play in-state schools in the future?
Well, I still think there's a place. You know, we're going to play 12, Koki. So, you know, if you got 9 plus maybe we play one up in a Power 4, there's 10. I think the other 2 could very easily come from the state of Louisiana. So I would still be in favor of doing that and hope that we do moving forward.
Kickoff this Saturday, I believe, is 6:30 p.m. on our sister station 104.5. I'm sorry, our sister station Eagle 98.1. Eagle is your home for LSU football, the flagship station for LSU football all season long. Kickoff at 6:30, network pregame 4:30, which means Eagle 98.1's game day. If you rewind the clock back, starts at 1:30. We're coming up on the Fox Business Report. After the Fox Business Report, I'll check traffic. After I take a look at traffic, attorney Franz Borghardt is in the house for a little Legally Served next. All right, we up and running on Facebook?
We are.
Okay.
You know, I've never pinned a comment on Facebook. Like 200 stars, you get to pin a comment. I don't even know how to get stars. How do you get stars?
I don't know. So, if you're Top Gun was 1986, wasn't it?
85, 86, right?
Space Camp was 1986.
Are you about to put Top Gun and Space Camp in the same conversation?
No, I'm just about to say Tom Skerritt was a busy guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Alien, that's actually 70s, right?
Alien, I think, was like 81. I want to say 81. Hang on. Let me make sure I got this right. Top Gun, 1986. Alien, 79. You're right.
You have not watched Alien Earth?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic.
The series?
Yeah. Pleasantly surprised.
No, Christy and I are watching. Good morning, Christy. Christy and I are watching the oh, what's that horrible woman in the in Utah? Um, the, no. The kids were like being held. Jody Hildebrand and Ruby Frankie. Oh, it's a terrible, terrible story. Yes. All right, checking in on your drive this morning. We are looking at your normal volume over there on I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. Picks up around Range Avenue is where you're going to find the beginning of said volume. We'll continue all the way through about Sherwood. Then you'll pick your speed back up a little bit all the way to the 10-12 merge. Meanwhile, over on 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish, we are looking good. 10 eastbound coming back from westbound Rouge Parish, we are looking good there. Both bridges are wide open as well. Surface streets, only one accident to report, and it's been out there for about a half an hour as a hit and run, and the car still in the roadway. That would be Plank at Evangeline. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Brother Franz, how are you?
Blessings unto this house.
You
Blessings.
good? You good?
I'm doing fantastic.
You doing fantastic?
It's Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Here, doing the Lord's work. How do you feel about the worst of the worst ice?
I wanted to start there.
That's what
So,
how do you feel about
Get that mic up a little bit higher.
How do you feel about them being in Angola?
I'm not sure how I come down on this.
I mean, it's better than a swamp, right?
So it is a swamp, though. Angola releases out into a swamp.
Can we agree that it's not exactly centrally located in terms of ease of like transportation? If you're trying to move these guys eventually to wherever they're from, I'm trying to say this politically correct, their home country. Is Angola where you want to put them?
Is Florida?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, is it good for the state? State gets some federal money.
So that's one part of it. I do think we get federal money in because of that, right? And I'll take that. If there's if there's a camp that's not being used, I'll take that as well. You
can put them to work, and there's no double meeting there. While they're being housed there, they can work.
Okay.
Generally, though, federal inmates don't necessarily get the same privileges in terms of local parish inmates or state inmates. So if they're housed there, I don't know that they will be quote unquote working the farm. So yeah, worst of the worst coming to Louisiana.
The prisoners would be held in an area administration officials are calling Camp 47, according to an advisory from the Department of Homeland Security. Federal officials shared the material on an embargoed basis with the media Tuesday morning, but some news outlets broke the embargo Tuesday afternoon, making the subject matter releasable. Attendees expect the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, and Governor Jeff Langer are also expected as Immigration and Customs Enforcement Deputy Director Madison Sheehan. So that part, is this move, and we're getting away from legal areas but moving over towards political areas, is this move relationship building with the administration? I don't know that I can dislike it. They're going to be put somewhere, okay? I have no qualms about people getting out of Angola. It's not OPP.
Well, so first question is, are these individuals that are serving state sentences for crimes committed, and they're the worst of the worst ICE detainees serving state sentences prior to deportation, or are these individuals who are the worst of the worst who are pending some kind of some kind of adjudication of both their criminal case and their ICE case, or these a third category of, hey, these are just people we're going to try to deport, but we haven't deported them yet.
I would have to say the second one, or else they
Right.
wouldn't be the worst of the worst.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
the third one is definitely not the worst of the worst.
So this question gets asked to me a lot. Back to law.
Yes.
So if someone's here inappropriately, dare I say illegally,
There you go. You could say-
illegally,
yeah.
dancing here. I'm dancing.
No.
If they're here illegally and they commit a state crime, or they commit a state crime somewhere, like what happens? Do they get deported without having a consequence to their state crime? Well, no. Generally, the state gets a serving of justice.
Mm-hmm.
They can prosecute. They can convict. They can sentence them to state time.
Mm-hmm.
We can pay for their detention in the state. Right?
Mhm.
Right. I mean, that makes sense.
Yep.
And then we deport them. Or we can deport them.
Right.
They get due process in both the immigration proceedings and in the state proceedings. That's an issue that a lot of people have problems with. What? Wait, Cade's here illegally. Why does he get any constitutional rights? What right does he have? He's a tourist. He's a trespasser.
Right.
Our Supreme Court historically has said, not this Supreme Court, past Supreme Courts has said, no, they get due process. They also get, if they're being detained, they also get just detention, constitutionally sound detention. They get their right against cruel and unusual punishment, which is detention, right? It's the manner, right? It's the manner of their detention. So if they're in this camp in Angola, it's not like, hey, we're going to mess with these guys and not give them AC and this, that, and the other. It's a standard wing of Angola.
No, we had another story earlier in the week about how the prisoners, or maybe it was last week, prisoners in Angola won't have to work if the temperature's too hot.
Right.
We that's already a thing. The cruel and unusual is
Right.
going away from our
Right.
legal system, our penal system. But okay, here's where I'm at on this, and we'll pick this up after the back end of the break, right? Because we got news, traffic, and weather just less than a minute away. Is why do we have to house? Why do they have to serve any kind of detention time here when we could just get them out of here? It's expeditious for all parties involved. It's better for them. Would you rather go to jail or go back home?
You want the victims to have a say in the worst of the worst crime?
No. No, victims don't have a say in that, do they?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about a murder case,
Yeah.
and we're going to look at a victim and say, we're not going to prosecute this dude, we're just going to send him back to Honduras, or we're going to send him back to Iran, or wherever.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like justice.
No, it does not. No, it does not. But instead, aren't we planning on deporting people on the... let's pause right there. He's Franz Borghardt. We do legally served at this time every week. Here's news.
As inalienable rights. I almost did my Peter Griffin laugh. I can't do a really good one. I got my Quagmire down. Quagmire. Cool whip. Cool whip. Whip.
Oh, when you get a minute, once you get your feet underneath you, can you give me my lives? Yep.
Does that change ever? Or is this all parish construction now?
No, it's supposed to rotate.
I was just asking. Just asking. That wasn't a swipe at you either.
No, if you would just put it on the logo. Landmark Bank, what time? one. What's my one that I'm? Who is? Yep. All right, that should be all of them. So I've got 4 jammed into the first hour. No. You're good. You're good. You're good. No, don't. You're good. I'm going to space them out. Curious as to how that.
Surely you can do some things to tax shelter some of that. Even at 370 million, surely there's some tricks you can do.
I'm just going off of what was reported.
Better call Saul. I know a guy. Yogurt? Chia pudding? Love it. I like chia pudding. Coconut milk and chia seeds makes a wonderful little pudding. You're a Renaissance man, Cade. I like this. You play a musical instrument, Cade? Do you play a musical instrument?
Plays the lute.
Nothing wrong with tuba. Nothing wrong with tuba.
Yeah.
Most areas will stay with the more comfortable field today. High temperatures near 91 degrees, mostly sunny skies, stray shower possible,
when
but
we'd have
the
a cool front.
overwhelming vast majority stay dry. Overnight, lows near 71. And as the rest of the work progresses, we're going to start to see that humidity creep up, especially down closer towards the coast. Now here in Baton Rouge and points to the northward, still not feeling that bad, but over the weekend, that's when everyone sees an increase in humidity and even some rain chances. I'm meteorologist Balin Rogers with your Storm Station forecast, WBRZ Channel 2.
.636, about to roll over to 637 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt rolling right along. We got Franz all the way up until 6:50 this morning, so we're going to walk this segment all the way up until Your Money Now because Franz has to get over to Court TV. Do you know what you're talking about yet?
Stuff.
Hey. Why do they, hit you so last minute all the time? They,
Because I'm that good. Because I spit mad fire.
The best of the best do their homework and do their due diligence.
So you got to understand, side derailment here. A lot of times on Court TV,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a Dixon. That was a good pass.
Oh, yes.
That was a good catch. That was a bad pass.
Okay.
Incomplete pass.
You're
So
like a Dixon McMakin.
I'm
Okay.
real time.
Voice of the Catholic High Bears and others to come.
Yeah. So I'm watching, and then they'll ask me a question. Hey, what did you think about that?
Yeah.
Some of the cases, Change too.
Okay. Keep
Donna
going.
Adelson, Cardia B.
No,
That's
I don't think
that's
it's Cardi B.
Cardi B.
Mm.
So I talked about that last week. I think that's they did closing arguments. They really liked it when I quoted some of her lyrics on the yes, we can talk about Nancy Grace. I was on Nancy Grace.
All right. Well, finish with the Court TV part.
So yeah, it's not now homework.
Yeah.
Nancy Grace.
Okay.
They send me like 5 to 6 articles on one topic.
Yeah.
And if you're not prepared, it's not good. It's not pretty.
But
everything you think about her is true.
okay, so I would have assumed the exact opposite. I would have assumed you would have to do a lot more homework with Court TV than you would with Nancy Grace.
So the commentators, the hosts, the anchors on Court TV are asking objective questions.
Okay.
What is the law on this? What is this? What did you just see? What was your takeaway from what just happened? I'm
sorry, we need to pause real quick. Franz was on the Nancy Grace show last week.
No big deal.
Made his debut over there last week. So that's why we're moving the conversation
sorry.
from Court TV to Nancy Grace. So, okay. So Court TV is more objective and more like overall rounded legal opinion.
So you know how we go at it sometimes?
Yeah.
Sometimes we just talk about stuff.
Yeah.
It's more just talking about the things that are happening in court.
Mm-hmm.
What is the meaning of a motion in limine? What does it mean due process? These are things I'm quick enough on my feet at this point, 20 years of practice in law, that I can answer those things.
Right.
Nancy Grace, the show it's on Sirius.
Mm-hmm.
It's an individual show. It's on a topic, and it's like 30, 45 minutes.
Okay.
She has like 6, 7 guests, and it's rapid fire.
Yeah.
And I played this last time. This was kind of like a tryout. I played token criminal defense attorney. So everybody else on there was not a defense attorney, just sweet little Franzi.
Oh, you were the bad guy.
And the victim's sisters were also guests. It was let me say this. Everybody in this world deserves a humbling experience. And I know that many of you watching, listening, say to yourself often, Franz really needs to get brought down a notch.
Mm-hmm.
It was a humbling experience. I have not been talked at or to in that manner in quite some time.
Okay.
It was refreshing. It's a change of pace. It was awesome. It was really a fun experience. I think that the takeaway for me was, while it is a performance, I think she clearly cares about victims and the cases.
Okay.
She's a very smart woman. She's very quick on her feet.
Mm-hmm. Those are two separate things. They're entirely different skill sets.
She's both.
Okay.
She's both. She knows her wheelhouse. Now the funny thing, I mean, we can have a real conversation. We're all family here.
Yes,
we can have a real conversation. The funny thing is, I thought I bombed. I was like, well, check that one off.
Isn't it funny how that works, though?
Yeah, like I was like, well, that was the worst experience ever. I'm sure they're never going to have me on again. And so, like, I knew one of the other guests, and I'm like, hey, Lauren, it was great. It was great hanging out. I'll never see you on Nancy Grace again. She's like, no, she loves you. I'm like, huh? And she goes, she wants you to banter.
Yeah.
Best advice I got the entire 45 minutes I was on. And I called in the first time. They let you call in the first time. So
really?
I'm in my car calling in. Can't see facial expressions. Can't see. I'm outside of the Ascension Parish Courthouse waiting to go to court, and I'm calling in. So I think I tanked.
Okay.
And so they're like, Lauren, my friend who does true crime podcasting, covered the Diddy trial, very awesome. Lauren Collins, shout out. She's like, no, she wants you to banter with her. Once she told me she wanted me to banter with her, that was like taking the handcuffs off. Yeah. I was like, okay, I can banter. As you know, I can banter.
A little bit.
The producer that got me on the show, who I know from Court TV world, I was like, yeah, I think I tanked there. And she's like, no, you'll be back on. So that was cool. It was a very cool experience. And look, my ego is way too big as it is. It was actually very fun to have someone take some good side swipes at me.
Yeah.
And you can't play token criminal defense attorney.
Well, but it's a different aspect. For like most of the time, most of Nancy Grace's guests, like on the prosecutorial side, their job is just to agree with Nancy and get out of the way.
There was a lot of that.
Okay. But you get to play the villain.
Well, what she doesn't, here's the thing. And the irony is, you know, if it's not my case,
Right.
You want to be tough on dude. If you want to have training day at my favorite Smoothie King in Baton Rouge on South Foster, prosecute.
Which, by the way, side note, unpaid endorsement, that is the best Smoothie King in Baton Rouge.
It was. I hope it still is.
No, I had lunch there yesterday.
Alonso apparently had a bad
muscle punch.
Apparently, whoever got shot had a bad weekend in Vegas. It was like training day kind of stuff, right? So, point is, but being token criminal defense attorney, and I'm not. And look, let's just all put our cards on the table. I'm not a true believer. You know that.
No, I know.
And if you've been listening or watching this show for a couple of years now,
you're a hired gun.
I'm a private dancer for money. Do what you want me to do. I'm like a Tina Turner song.
All right, Tony Danza, let's get back to it.
So there's a picture of Tony Danza with Elton John, and it's like this. Anyways, all right, side rail.
So anyway, so you're going to be back on Nancy Grace.
I think so.
Are we going to have to fight harder to get you on here? Because, or is it?
I'm like peanut butter. There's enough of me to spread around. There's weeks I come in here twice. There's weeks
there are weeks you come in here twice, and I'd like it to remain that way. I don't mind sharing you with the rest of the class, but my goodness, man.
Permission to be vulnerable and honest for a second.
Go ahead.
You know what pains me more than anything else?
What?
Weeks you're out of town, and I don't get to come on here.
Like last week.
There's like a void in my life.
Well, but last week,
I sleep a little later.
I was talking to you in the parking lot of the Golden Nugget when I got to hear the whole Nancy Grace story.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But back to why do we spend taxpayer money prosecuting these people? Wouldn't it be better to just punt them back to their home country?
Yes.
Okay.
It would expedite the whole world.
Well, justice is sometimes a very annoying and uncomfortable thing in the sense of, let's say hypothetically, you're a rape victim. Let's say hypothetically, you're the surviving family of a murder. Mm-hmm. And you truly believe that this individual that's being now housed in wherever, Angola, mm-hmm. is the person that murdered your loved one, is the person who raped you. Are you going to be satisfied with, look, we could prosecute this defendant and put them away for life in a penitentiary where this could never happen to another human being again.
Right.
Or we can send them back to Honduras or Mexico or whatever. Honduras, nothing against Honduran or Mexicans. I'm just using those as my whatever major country we're getting high crime rates. I'm sure there's stats on that. Or do we prosecute them? Different money, right? If they're being held in Angola on an ICE hold, I would assume that's federal money paying for that. And by federal money, I mean like you're okay.
Keep going.
I'm assuming it's like your federal taxpayer money,
mm-hmm.
and if it's state money, it's your state taxpayer money. So it's coming out of a pocket.
But it does lend back towards what is justice.
Correct.
Now, there's got to be punishment for the crime.
Now, certain crime convictions you
get
deported.
Me. I'm back on that side now.
Okay.
Yes, if they committed it, because you send someone back to their country of origin, they're free to walk right back over here illegally again.
And we're talking about just to bring everybody back.
Yeah.
Look at me actually doing radio. To bring everybody back, we're talking about the worst of the worst ICE detainees being housed in Angola. So we're not talking about the guy that's selling a little bit of marijuana on the corner. We're not talking about the guy that steals cigarettes from Circle K. We're talking about murder, sex crimes,
right?
Worse, the armed robbery,
right?
Those are a little bit more. Now, look, I have had cases where my client is represented by immigration attorneys, very good ones. They're detained on an ICE hold, and I'm like, hey, prosecutor, this guy's accused of this low-level felony. Do you really want a pound of flesh, or can he stipulate and get sent home?
And that's the middle ground that I was originally thinking of. But when you talk about having real-life victims, real-life family members lost, real-life trauma, then, yes, the punishment needs to go to the top of the charts.
What's going to blow your mind
what?
Is when they get sent home on a smaller crime.
Yeah. They come back again?
No. Well, not just that. They just walk off the plane.
Yeah,
there's no consequence in their country.
I'm aware of that, but it's a risk reward thing though.
Yeah,
it's a balance sheet thing, profit and loss.
So just as a reminder, we talked about this earlier, and I know we only have like 3 minutes left. Yeah. So we're not going to get to the. Fortunately, we're not going to get to the Donald Steele topic. We'll talk about that later this week, I'm sure. So what I'll say is this: they get due process.
Mm-hmm.
So again, what I want to deep dive into is, are these individuals who've been convicted of the worst crimes from around the country, and being housed in Angola
Mhm.
are these people that have pending cases that for whatever reason are being I think it's the worst of the worst from around the country being housed in Angola who have been convicted of state crimes. Now, the state of Florida, the state of Louisiana, the state of Texas could also hold these individuals in their states.
Mhm.
You know, it's not a shell game. It's really about sometimes it's about dollars and cents of this. We have space. We're willing to contract with the federal government, et cetera. So it's
So what you're telling me here is on this September 3rd of 2025, for the third time this year, you've agreed with Jeff Landry.
I respect our governor. I think he's doing an exceptionally good job.
I just like to get a little dig at you once in a while.
I said earlier, I'm a mercenary.
Mhm.
If it's not my clients are innocent in a way that nobody's ever been innocent before.
Right.
But if it's not my client, I like the streets of Baton Rouge being safer. I like going to Smoothie King. I like my
God, that
bougie.
story, man.
I like that bougie
Monday
Albertsons
morning,
so much.
3:30.
That
Like 1
bougie-
hour later is when I drive right through that
I had
intersection.
to drive right through the sign.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I know.
I haven't gotten a smoothie since that incident, but you know what? I'm going to live dangerously today and get a little smoothie.
It's not dangerous. Well, first of all, you need to get your butt over to Rotary, but that's neither here nor there. It's not dangerous at all. I was there
He
yesterday.
just shamed me.
I did.
Did you just see that? He shamed me.
I did. I got I had my 32-ounce muscle punch from Smoothie King yesterday. That's my Tuesday stop, man. I had $2 off because I
Do you
have
think
the
that's
app.
going to increase business there?
God, I hope not,
So
because
true-
that's such a horrible location
Not that
for
this has
like
anything to do with the law.
logistics.
But we used to have a Smoothie King downtown. Don't
Mhm.
have one anymore.
I know.
So we used to have an LSU one
Who did
right
we
off
talk to
campus.
about that?
We used to have one right off campus. Now it's in the Union. So
Who did we talk to about that?
really, the nearest Smoothie King for us is the
Government and
drive-through-
Foster.
Government and Foster. Go all the way down from here. Go down north, Florida.
Get your butt over to Core TV.
Love you guys.
Mhm.
Bye.
He's Franz Borghardt. We do legally served at this time, and Smoothie King talk as well. Here comes your money now on Talk 107.3 FM. So y'all, full disclosure, because we don't hold things back from the glorified crew on Facebook. JP texted me at like 3:15 this morning saying he had the poopies. So I called Cade at, what was it, about 10 after 5? Yeah. And said, Cade, I got a problem. Can you solve it? And he said, check out the hook while the DJ revolves it. Let me get caught up on. I'm gonna do at least one live here. I don't know why this puts all over the 6 o'clock hour, and then the rest of the because the 6 o'clock hour is news wheel and it moves fast, and then the rest of the show is just fucking empty. And I end up doing live reads where they're not assigned, but like I don't know what to do. Like, right, but it's also like when I have a 3-minute long segment that I've got to reduce down to 2 minutes. 6:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. My appreciation to Franz Borghardt for popping in for Legally Served, as he does every week. We will be back at it, and as he said, sometimes more than once a week. But we will be back at it again next week, to be sure. You know what? While I have a minute here, got to remind you about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Look, we all know travel and tourism play a crucial role in our state's economy. Baton Rouge is no different within that. According to Visit Baton Rouge, the Baton Rouge Metro Airport helped bring in more than 8 million visitors in 2022. They spent more than $1 billion in the capital city. BTR also brings in $1.1 billion in general annual economic output for Baton Rouge, while also supporting 4,500 jobs. Now, well, this is why I tell you every single day about flying in and out of our city. 4,500 jobs in our city. But it's kind of based off of us, right? If we don't use our airport, we can't have a great airport. Our airport relies upon us to make sure that it remains vital. When you're looking at flying, like, for example, flying to D.C., there's a direct flight to D.C. every single day, comes back home in the evening. Get your business done same day. When it comes to things like that, it's important that we take into account the whole picture. You might be able to book a cheaper flight somewhere else, but the full-on experience and what it means to our community is important. That's why I love telling you about going to flybtr.com or flybtr2dc.com as well as that direct flight to DC as our elected officials returned to work yesterday. That direct flight to DC is available for you. And Baton Rouge BTR has added direct flights for LSU games throughout this season as well. We have got about 2 minutes until we hit news at the top of the hour, which is enough time for me to move on to this next story. We now have a 70% chance of there being another name storm, or the next name storm, popping up for us. There's a tropical wave located over the eastern tropical Atlantic, a few hundred miles west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. It's continuing to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms. I am reading from the National Hurricane Center, by the way. Environmental conditions remain conducive for gradual development of the system during the next several days. And a tropical depression is likely to form late this week or this weekend. System's expected to move westward to west-northwestward at around 15 miles per hour across the eastern and central tropical Atlantic into early next week. As it stands right now, it has a 30% chance of becoming a named storm over the next 48 hours, but a 70% chance of becoming a named storm over the next 7 days. So while this isn't going to be a matter of concern for us anytime for, like, let's say, all the way through Monday or Tuesday, this is something that I'm going to be watching very closely. By the way, as an aside, once it does become a named storm, I believe Gabrielle's up next. We've gotten through Fernand. Gabrielle would be up next. Then Umberto, Imelda, Jerry. Karen is still out, a potential storm as well. And then the alphabet goes on and on from there. But I do have an eyeball on this one because, so far, every storm this season has been just a fish storm, just out in the Atlantic, doing nothing to us, nothing for us, nothing against us. Except for Aaron. Aaron had some storm surge push up along the East Coast. That was the closest that the United States came to seeing a storm thus far. But what was predicted at the beginning of the season to be an above-average hurricane season, thus far, and I'm not trying to talk to the pitcher in the middle of the no-hitter, but thus far, we've been okay. And even though we are already to the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, seventh storm of the season, and we're not to the peak of hurricane season yet, man, it is refreshing at the very least to be able to say at least they haven't bothered anybody. We've got 1 hour in the books. We've got 2 hours to go. Coming up next hour, we're going to talk with State Senator Blake Miguez, who would like to change that title to U.S. Senator Blake Miguez. And I've got Tim Temple on the rundown as well. We'll talk a little insurance, too. That's all coming your way next hour on Talk 107.3 FM. Here's news. Oh, you know what we should have talked about with Franz? Is if you win the Powerball, why you need to hire an attorney immediately. You don't have to, but you want to hire an attorney to set up a trust. It reduces your tax burden. Leanne says, if we win the Powerball, I'm not telling a soul, but there will be signs. Yeah, first thing I'm doing is hiring an attorney. Second thing I'm doing is hiring a CPA. And I love Franz to pieces, but I'm hiring an attorney that specializes in something other than keeping people out of jail. Matt says, I'm not sure if I would hire people I know to help me.
Most areas will stay with the more comfortable field today. High temperatures near 91 degrees, mostly sunny skies, stray shower possible, but the overwhelming vast majority stay dry. Overnight, lows near 71. Now, as the rest of the work week progresses, we're going to start to see that humidity creep up, especially down closer towards the coast. Now, here in Baton Rouge and points to the northward, still not feeling that bad, but over the weekend, that's when everyone sees an increase in humidity and even some rain chances. I'm meteorologist Balin Rogers with your Storm Station forecast, WBRZ Channel 2.
.705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Cade Wazan producing with the last minute, and I do mean last minute pinch hit. We're starting off your second hour at 70 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Thank you very much. Busy hour this hour. Blake Miguez on the hotline in our next segment. Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple's on the rundown as well. We've got a lot of ground to cover this morning, so let's not waste any time at all. Let's get right to it. Top stories and trending. How did we get here and where are we going? Those are the two big questions headed to Ascension Parish about an hour from now. Leaders from the Ascension Chamber, Baton Rouge Area Chamber, City of Gonzales, and more are hosting the opening stop of a statewide legislative road show. That's coming up at the Price LeBlanc Pace Center in Gonzales, starting about an hour from right now. Registration opens up about half an hour from right now. House Speaker Philip DeVilliers kind of put this whole thing together. State Representative Tony Bacala and a number of House leaders will highlight updates in key areas and have a Q&A with the audience to find out where they want to head next. Secretary of State Nancy Landry is going to hold a press conference tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. This will be at the Old Governor's Mansion. The purpose of the press conference? To announce the results of a months-long investigation into illegal registrants on Louisiana's voter rolls. 3 people were shot. 3 were arrested in Iberville Parish over the Labor Day weekend. A 24-year-old was shot not far from the Iberville courthouse on Friday. Then, on Labor Day, 2 brothers in their early 20s were shot in Maringouin. One of those brothers actually did die. Arrests were made in both instances. A new immigration court is set to open in Baton Rouge on October 20th. This according to the Executive Office for Immigration Review. It'll be located at 451 Florida Street, Suite 500. It'll be open from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. They will conduct court proceedings, appellate reviews, and administrative hearings. Federal and state officials are going to visit Louisiana State Penitentiary today to announce that Angola prison will house what immigration agents call the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens. Those prisoners would be held in an area administration officials are calling Camp 47, according to the Department of Homeland Security. What you got, CV?
I'm no Robert Workman, but I'll do my best. President Trump announced yesterday that Space Command will be moving from Colorado to, you guessed it, Huntsville, Alabama.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Bringing it into Huntsville, home of the space camp.
Yep.
Where every child of the 80s wanted to go over the summertime.
Space camp.
It was either space camp or Dixie basketball camp. You had to make a choice.
Was there fantasy space leagues where you could like draft your favorite astronauts? There was a period of time, 80s, 90s, where like space was cool, and I bring that up because of the most recent passing of the Apollo 11 astronaut. And so, like, there was a time when space was hot. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It was it's the next frontier. It's the new Wild West.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we just put a bunch of satellites up there and stopped going.
Yeah.
And now we got comets heading towards us that we think are alien spaceships, but they're not. They're just a comet.
Yeah.
I know. I was so on board with us being aliens.
You're talking about You're not talking about the drones flying over Jersey or something like that.
No. That whatever that thing that's
Oh.
hurtling towards our solar system at like 100,000 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
It's they've determined it's now just a comet and it's not a spacecraft.
Death Comet?
I hope not.
Okay.
I don't know, depending on the day.
We probably get a better warning.
Yeah.
Speaking of president, he has also announced the National Guard troops will, in fact, be going to Chicago to get crime under control. Nasty weekend in Chicago when it comes to numbers.
54 people shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he didn't lay out a timeline, but they're heading that way.
So this is one where I'm kind of torn. I'm a law and order type of guy, to be sure. But at the same time, though, I'm also a state's sovereignty kind of guy as well. We are 50 states. We are not America. We are the United States of America. So if the people in Illinois, more specifically Chicago, don't want the help, is it an overstep to send them the help? They need the help. They need to wake up and recognize they need the help. It was different in D.C. because in D.C. you've got all the federal stuff there. But, like, man, I don't know. I'm so torn on this.
Well, if old JB's getting in his way, it may be tough to get around.
Could be.
The Powerball is definitely trending this morning, speaking of huge, as there will be a $1.3 billion jackpot on the line tonight. That number drops to $589 million if you take out the lump sum payment. From there, taxes would run you about $218 million. And I guess with all that said and done, you could roughly make close to what the starting quarterback in Michigan makes, $371 million.
I mean, you go from 1.3 billion. You go from Dr. Evil money to Bryce Underwood money in no time.
Yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah. My follow was going to be you drop all the way down to money that the Saints can blow in a free agent season.
Mm-hmm.
No time.
Yeah, that's Russell Erxleben contract.
That is so
Kids
overpaying.
listening in the car, ask your parents who Russell Erxleben.
Please ask, and the parents ask your parents who Russell Erxleben is. We're at 7-Eleven at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Before we take our next break, got to remind you about the folks over at Breck. Breck.org is their home base online. BREC. Breck.org is their home base online. I can't wait. Cross country season is I enjoy it because you get out there to see different Breck parks. My kids both run cross country, an 8th grader and a 4th grader. They both run cross country for Mercy. So we get out there to different Breck parks every week to, experience different terrain, run on different spots, take, shorter runs, longer runs or whatever. And what I like to do is see everything else going on at the park. Because one of the things about Breck is they are a true testament to what community can be. When you have all kinds of people coming together for all kinds of different needs. And the community parks are the big ones here. Forget about those little parks that, are like one lot on a corner somewhere. Think about like your Independence parks, your Highland Road community parks. Those are the ones where you see people playing soccer over here, football over there, and pickleball across the street. And then, don't forget Liberty Lagoon's still over there. I don't even know if Liberty Lagoon closed down by Labor Day. But my point is you see the community come together. Whether you're talking about, kayaking or horseback riding or nature trails, Breck has got you covered. Where do you find out more information? Breck.org. That's Breck.org. Blake Miguez? You would think he would. He's a world champion, like, rifle skeet shooter. Yeah. The daddy-daughter dance? I don't like that at all. We have the same amount of space, less parking, too many events going on in the gym. Plus, it's special that the girls get to go somewhere that's not campus. You know, it'd be awesome is if we could move it to the old state capitol, like the Princess Ball. Yeah. $7:15, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to start looking ahead to the U.S. Senate race, which is actually for next year, but it's not too early because we have closed primaries for this race, which actually pushes things up by a good bit. Joining us now, who has thrown his hat in the ring, that would be State Senator Blake Miguez, who wants to swap that state for U.S. Senator Miguez, good morning. How are you, sir?
Brian, good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. First of all, before we get into it, man, you have had a busy time of it lately. I understand congratulations are in order.
Yes, I had a beautiful baby girl about 3 weeks ago, and she's redheaded just like my wife. So she'll be running the household while I'll be running the country.
That's so good. Oh, so good. Congratulations to you. I saw the pictures on Facebook. I was like, look at that. Gonna squeeze that bunch of diaper changes into the middle of a Senate campaign. That won't make things hectic.
She's a wonderful little bundle of joy, and we're extremely excited, and we're very blessed, Brian.
Absolutely. All right, so let's start with the basic resume. For those that don't know you, who is Blake Miguez?
That's a great question. So Blake Miguez is a seventh generation Louisianan. So I'm from Iberia Parish. I grew up in a little village called Lorville on the Bayou Teche, which, a fun fact, is where the Acadians first settled when they came here from Nova Scotia. So I can tell you that the love for this state flows through my blood. And I grew up in a working class family right there on the Bayou Teche, and my family worked their way up. And we've seen all the struggles of everyday Louisianans. Like, we've seen hurricanes, we've seen hard times, we've had government incompetence affect our lives. And one thing that always stood out for us growing up is politicians never saved us. And it was those principles of everyday Americans like faith, family, and hard work, which lifted our family up. And I realized that the American dream is just keeping big government out of our lives and letting American entrepreneurship and family and faith and the things that we know and we hold dear to our hearts take over. And that's where we find our American dream, and that's where we find our prosperity.
How have you implemented that into your political career thus far?
Well, I can tell you that I know where I come from, and I've always said that when I'm on the campaign trail. I know who I am, I know where I came from, and I never forget the people who sent me to represent them, whether it's in Baton Rouge or in the future in Washington, D.C. And there's been some extremely tough votes that we've had to take along the way. When you find yourself trying to figure out where do you go on this issue, I always sat down in my office and I thought about the people back home. I didn't think about government. I didn't think about the governor. I didn't think about other legislators or any kind of peer pressure. I thought about what would they want me to do, because at the end of the day, I am their voice, and they're the only ones that matter. And when I followed those principles and I followed that decision making, things always went right because they are who matters the most. And sometimes when politicians get elected, they always forget about the people back home. And I can tell you that's been the root of my success. I never forget about the people who got me there and the people whose voice I'm representing in this beautiful country, in this constitutional republic that we call America.
We're talking with State Senator Blake Miguez, who is running for U.S. Senate. On your website, it says Blake Miguez, the MAGA choice. What does that mean?
That's the proven MAGA choice. That means that if I'm elected to the United States Senate, that the people of Louisiana, they are going to get more than just an election year Republican. They're going to get a true proven conservative that will support President Trump full time, that will also support his America First agenda and won't stand in his way. Unlike the incumbent who I'm running against, his name's Bill Cassidy, who voted to impeach President Trump and convict him on impeachment, He also asked for him not to run the 2024 election. Now, I'm the proven MAGA candidate, and I also noticed and I quickly realized that President Trump is overwhelmingly supported in this state. He won by 63 or 64% in his last election. People believe in him. And we need a U.S. Senator that people can count on to support him full time. And that's what this means. That means make America great again. And President Trump is putting America first. And we need to elect a U.S. Senator with some youthful energy that can grow this Make America Great Again into the next generation, to our next president. And like President Trump says, to the golden years of American prosperity. And that's exactly what I intend to do when I get into the U.S. Senate.
We're talking with State Senator Blake Miguez. Let's talk about your work in the state capitol for just a little bit. As you look back on your time in both, on both sides of the first floor, what are some of the highlights that you're most proud of?
Wow, we've done so much work over the last 11 years. I've been in the state capitol in both the House and the Senate.
It's been
And
11
I can
years.
tell you, 11 years. I'm one of the most senior members of the legislature
Oh.
at 43 years old. So I can remember something that's near and dear to my heart is the Second Amendment. I understand that the right of self-defense of yourself and your family is extremely important in this country. And it's that Second Amendment that protects our First Amendment rights that makes this country so great. And I was proud to author Constitutional Carry, which is one of the strongest 5 bills in the entire nation that gives individuals in Louisiana the right to carry a firearm in self-defense without needing government's permission. We also gave them a limitation on liability. If they have ever had to use that against a violent criminal, they wouldn't get sued by a violent criminal for justifiably defending themselves or their family.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember passing legislation that reformed the welfare system, which required able-bodied adults to get back to work, which work and fuel our economy and make Louisiana and America great. That's what this country was built on, was hard work. I can remember passing legislation that banned sanctuary cities to make sure that violent, illegal criminals that were in our cities would stop creating new victims in every day and hurting Louisiana citizens, and stop the government from protecting them, deport them, and send them back to the countries where they came from. I can remember working on election integrity, working on getting rid of the far left ideologies. I mean, protecting children from being coerced to have their genders changed and sex changes, which is crazy. We fought battle after battle, controlling government spending, fighting against tax increases. Remember, we had a Democratic governor for 8 years while I served in the legislature. It was some of the toughest battles on defense, and when we got a new Republican governor, it finally felt great to work on the offensive team and put policies in place that would move Louisiana forward. So I'm very proud of my time in the state legislature, and I think I'm going to take that conservative, proven record and bring that to D.C., be the voice of the people in Louisiana, and be a U.S. Senator that the people of Louisiana can be proud of, someone that supports their president, someone whose family has been here for 7 generations, someone who was born on the bayou, was raised on the bayou, currently lives on the bayou, and when he's done in D.C. and he comes home and he takes his last breath, they're going to bury me on this bayou because I love it and it's so close to my heart, like this bayou state.
We're talking with State Senator Blake Miguez about his run for U.S. Senate. Before we move on to the campaign trail, I got to ask you about the role of different levels of government, because your work as a state rep, your work as a state senator, not all these things are going to apply on a federal level. Every different level of government has its own role to play. How could you take what you've used here and make it applicable there?
Well, it's great. I mean, the same conservative principles apply, right? Being a social conservative, fiscal conservative. I mean, things that are extremely important to voters that we've done some work here in the state level, but are probably more appropriate on the federal level, like securing our border to make sure terrorists and drug cartels and violent criminals are not pouring across our border. President Trump did an amazing job of closing that border and securing it. We're continuing to work on securing our elections to make sure that it's easy to vote and hard to cheat. Government spending we thought Louisiana had a spending problem, but we have to balance our budget every year. On the federal government side, they have a $38 trillion deficit. That spending needs to get under control, or our great-grandchildren will not be able to pay the bill. Work on a better tax code like we did here in Louisiana on the federal side to unleash America's wonderful economy and get us back going strong. Something that we don't deal with as much here on the state level, but we worked on law enforcement. Well, on the federal level, you get to work on your military and making sure that our war fighters are ready to defend this great country, and we have one of the strongest national defense in the nation. But when you look at the social side of things, I worked very hard for gun rights to protect innocent life in the womb and to make sure all the crazy woke left policy stayed out of Louisiana. On the federal side, I'll do the exact same thing because this country was built on Christian faith. Family comes first, and hard work is what made us great. Whether you're at the state level or the federal level, those principles applied. And I was one of the most conservative members of the state legislature, and I intend on being one of the most conservative U.S. senators and making the people of Louisiana proud.
Got a couple minutes left here with State Senator Blake Miguez. All right, let's pivot over to the campaign trail, and we'll get around to what issues you're hearing about on the campaign trail in a minute. But I want to start with moving from the state, like your area, Lauraville, your area in Iberia Parish, to campaigning statewide. Talk to me a little bit about what it takes to get your name out there. I mean, they all know you where you're from, but who knows you up in Northeast Louisiana? How are you going about introducing yourself?
Brian, it's a huge state. There's nearly 4.7 million people in this state, and I can tell you, you have to have a lot of energy, and this has to be in your gut, and you got to have a work ethic. And I can tell you that our campaign is building tremendous momentum. Do you know that we outraised every opponent on individual contributions in the second quarter in this race? And that's because real Louisianans are supporting us because they know I'm not a DC phony, and they want real change. And I can tell you that kind of energy. I've had nearly 6,000 individual contributions, and I've only been in this race for 2.5 months. And that's coming from real Louisianans. That's showing that we have the energy to get our message across. I can tell you when I ran for state senate, I worked tremendously hard working these 3 parishes. Well, now I've got 64 parishes that I've got to go and meet individuals across this state. And I can tell you we're using every platform available. We're on social media. If your listeners want to tune in, they can go to my Facebook. They can go to my X account. I even have an Instagram account. And if folks want to learn more about me, they can go to BlakeMiguez.com. We have an amazing launch video and an amazing bio video on that website. Brian, I don't know if you got an opportunity to see it.
Oh, no.
But
I've seen it.
It's pretty cool.
It is. It
And
is
I
bold,
encourage,
to say the least.
Well, it shows that we stand up for our American values and principles and the things we stand for. I'm a very conservative candidate. I'm running in a Republican primary. And that's a cool video, right?
It is.
I really enjoyed making it. It was a lot of fun. But, Brian, what most people haven't seen is now they haven't got a chance to learn more about Blake Miguez. And that's what I'm going to do over the next several months. Get them to know who I am and where I came from. And if you go to my website, there's a 6-minute bio video there called Built on the Bayou. Mm-hmm. And I encourage all your listeners to go there and click on that video, and you'll learn the Blake Miguez that grew up in Louisiana on the Bayou Teche and my story and some of the struggles that my family saw and what made me into the state senator that I am today and what's going to make me the best U.S. senator going forward. It's because of how I grew up and the values that I learned from a young age. And I think that tells my story, and I encourage listeners to go to my website. Again, it's BlakeMiguez.com, and you can get more information on it.
We got about 2.5 minutes left with State Senator Blake Miguez looking to swap that state out for U.S. on his business card. Senator Miguez, what are you hearing on the campaign trail? Like, give me a top 2 issues that you're hearing about that Louisiana wants to see changed.
Well, I can tell you on the federal side of things, people are really excited about the president securing our border. Mm-hmm. I know that the big, beautiful bill just passed, and having those tax cuts were amazing to continue to grow our economy here on the national level and in the state of Louisiana. But I hear a lot about, government spending needs to get under control. 37 to $38 trillion of debt is just not going to cut it for my great grandkids. And I'll tell you, the most surprising thing that I've heard on the campaign trail is getting the different perspectives from someone that's under 40 or over 40, and understanding that they all have their own unique version of the American dream and they want to live it. Mm-hmm. And the struggles are similar, but they have a different perspective. And I think President Trump recognizes that his America First agenda puts America first and making sure that those dollars are prioritized on Americans. And every generation has a different struggle in this country. And I think being at my age, I can understand both of those struggles, and I'm empathetic to those struggles. And I can understand that the struggles of the next generation are going to be different than the older generation, but there's still the American dream, and we still need to lead this country on Christian principles and conservatism and hard work and things that make this country great. But I'll tell you that it's a different world after COVID, and the affordability in this country. People are having trouble affording their insurance bills. They're having trouble affording groceries. They're having trouble finding their new home at an early age and being able to afford and own that home and start their families and have some skin in the game and understand that this country is and reap the great benefits of this country and the prosperity that it can offer any family. And younger Americans struggle every day with that, and I'm very empathetic to it. And I want to make sure that the America that they grow up in is as great as their parents and their great grandparents, and they fight just as hard to defend our freedom as the previous generation, because it's going to take every generation fighting to preserve our freedoms if we want to have this great country for future generations to come.
That is all the time we have for our first visit. I'm going to tee it up for the next time, Blake. I want to know next time around what you plan on doing, like very specifically putting your footprint on the Senate seat when you, if and when you get there. In the meanwhile, go take care of that baby while you're home, because you're going to have to hit the campaign trail. I appreciate a couple minutes. We'll talk to you soon.
Brian, thank you so much for having me on the show. Again, your listeners can go to BlakeMiguez.com if they want to learn more about me. And God bless our state and God bless America.
We'll talk to you soon. Blake Miguez. Here comes news. There he is. Oh. Oh, just cutting up. Having some fun. How are you? Yeah, no barrel. Was at the kids cross country practice on Saturday out at Highlander Park. Yeah, and I like to get my cardio in while they're doing their thing, so I'll go all around the park. And you know where that football field is on the backside? Yep. It's a little muddy. Hit a mud spot and kind of did a little extension of the I don't know, something on the back of the knee. And no, but I went for a walk on Sunday because I'm like, I'm not gonna let it stop me. And I got home and like it ballooned up real good. It went right back down, but I'm feeling it today. I was feeling it on Monday. I was feeling it yesterday, and I'm really feeling it today. Oh, yeah. So I'm assuming we're talking about the new round of Fortified. There's the page I was looking for. I mean, I like to look. I want to. Here's the thing. I want to get to Hurricane Karen.
I don't want to get to any.
Because Hurricane Karen has already asked to speak with the manager. That's no, it's it's, yeah. Yeah. Kill my mic for a sec. 737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to check into the world of insurance. We've got Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple in with us. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning, Brian. You know, this is one of those weeks where I'm still not sure if it's Tuesday, Wednesday, or what day.
It's backward. Yeah, it is. Everybody's all happy on Tuesday, and then by the end of Tuesday, completely discombobulated. It's, I got an extra day of rest. And it's like, I don't know where that went.
It all goes
didn't
away.
stick. It takes more than one day to build it back up. We've got a lot of ground to cover here. I mean, we went from an unbelievably busy legislative session to what is now an even more ramped up time because there's so much news right now. I want to start with coming out of the legislature, or very recently, it was like last week, 2 weeks ago, we saw a number of different companies announce that they're dropping their rates by a good bit, which is a great thing, but not because of the work that's been done the last 2 years in the session.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we announced that we'd had over 20 companies take rate decreases. And those rate decreases started in December of last year.
Right.
And for a litany of different reasons. But I think the driving reason that the folks in my department that look at all these reviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
Companies submit requests for rate increase, decrease. We make sure that everything adds up and everything follows the rules and regulations. And the highlighting indication was that they had less losses, less accidents.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all know if the fewer cars on the road, fewer accidents.
Right.
Fewer accidents, fewer claims.
Right.
Fewer claims, fewer claim payments.
Right.
And in a market where where you allow free market to rule, driving forces, less claim dollars paid out, that means less premiums that they charge the following year. And that's what we saw. So we had fewer accidents and we saw fewer premium. We saw rate reduction on that. None of that was involved with the legislation that was passed this past session. And I certainly anticipate that we will have future rate reductions because of that legislation. And when that happens, I will be the first one out there saying, ladies and gentlemen, state of Louisiana, rates are coming down because of the legislation passed.
But rewind it back to the 24 session. Anything from there factor into this?
No, the two laws the two changes that stick out in my head, one was the direct action and the other was the 2-year prescription on auto. That 2-year prescription hasn't had a time to run yet, right? I think it took, if I remember correctly, it started either July or August of 2024. So it's just in the first year of a 2-year prescription. So we haven't seen the impact, good or bad, from that law yet.
When auto insurance companies look at, the fewer accidents out there, what type of time frame, what kind of data set do they have to take into account before it would actually affect rates the way? And by the way, we're talking significant, not like 1 or 2% change. We're talking 10 to 20% change for a lot of these companies.
Yeah, look, they were significant. And look, they're constantly looking at their book.
Yeah.
They want to remain competitive because all the other companies are looking at their books all the time. And, one of the things that the legislature did was, prior to, I believe, the year before last, insurance companies were only allowed to take rate change once every 12 months. We had asked the legislature to modify that. We also asked them to do prior approval, go from prior approval to file and use. That allows companies to change their rates and gives them more flexibility. For example, there was a company 2 months ago that started a new product, an auto product, in the state of Louisiana. They have already requested a rate decrease because they came in, they saw that their premium was not competitive, and they asked for a rate decrease 2 months into it. Under the prior laws, they would have had to wait 12 months to change that premium.
Right.
So we have given companies more flexibility, just like any company. We want people to be able to change their rates as market conditions dictate. Gives them flexibility, allows us as consumers to go shop our insurance. And you hear me talk about shopping a lot. It's because things are changing constantly. So we're creating a better environment for insurance companies, which means it's better environment for us as consumers, as buyers of insurance.
How much of this is a trading back and forth of good faith? Because if you change the window with which they can change rates and they respond, now is it back on the legislature's turn to say we would make another change here and they'll respond in kind of as well?
Well, look, let's talk about the legislative changes that were done this past session. I have engaged in conversations with insurance companies asking them to hedge, to give us that premium relief, at least some of it.
Right.
Go ahead and bet on the outcome. We passed legislation. We say it's going to make the environment more competitive, better for consumers. I've already engaged in conversations with insurance companies to go ahead and start giving us a little premium relief. And if it doesn't pan out, then we'll have that conversation down the road. But give us the premium relief that I think that the Louisianans deserve based on the legislation that was passed. And again, when they start doing that, I will be letting the people of Louisiana know that premiums are coming down because of that legislation. And then we can have conversations with the legislature this upcoming session.
Right.
We passed, we cause and effect. We passed some legislation, rates came down. Let's continue to pass legislation and expect rates to come down.
And where I'm going with that is when you go back to the equation of fewer accidents means fewer payouts means fewer claims, that sets the table for what we needed. That gives us the direction for the next legislative session to look. There's one bill in particular that I really, really want coming back, and that's Representative Egan's nuclear verdict bill. Like, that reduces claim. That reduces the total amount paid out, and we're pointed in that direction.
Well, and look, Brian, we're talking about two different things. One, we're talking about the number of accidents.
Right.
And that has a reduction on claims payments. We also have to talk about, and this is the legislation we passed this last year, talking about disincentivizing that frivolous litigation, and I should say frivolous claims filed.
Right.
Right. It starts with that. And look, we got to say that. It starts with us filing the claim.
Right.
We got to look at ourselves and say, why did I do that? And some because it's really easy to maybe get a little settlement there real quick. We're trying to disincentivize that behavior.
Yes.
And I say it all the time. If you've been in an accident, it's a legitimate accident. You have legitimate damage to your car. You've got legitimate medical, true injuries as a result of the car wreck. You're owed compensation by the insurance company for that.
Right.
Right. Whether or not you engage legal, that's a separate issue. But you're entitled to something there. It's the ones that the fender benders. You roll into the car in front of you. There's no damage. You didn't even damage the dirt on the bumper.
Right.
Those are the things we've got to disincentivize.
Well, and while we're talking about two different things, they both funnel back to the same pool of money that has to be paid back out again. That's where we're going with that. We've got Insurance Commissioner Tim Templeton with us. I do want to pivot real quick because while auto insurance is always top of mind, there's big news about the Fortified Roof Program. The new round is out and open?
Yeah, we started that yesterday morning, 8 a.m. The new round for fortified roofs, you can receive up to $10,000 grant to put a fortified roof on if you become one of the grantees through this program. It runs through September 12th, 5 p.m. So we've got a 10-day run where you can become an applicant. This round, and I had asked our the folks back at the office, because I hear a lot of times I've applied before and I have to reapply. We had a round in, I think it was September of 24, and then we did one in February of 25. And I think February 25, I think we had somewhere around 10,000 people applied for 1,000 grants or 500 grants. So what I asked IT to do was, if Brian, if you applied last round or in September of 24, your name will automatically go into this next drawing.
That's awesome.
And look, if the listeners out there, if you're not sure of your status, you go back to the website, to the LDI website, to the portal for the Fortified, and you can check and see if, make sure that all your information is correct. But you will be in that round for this time so you don't have to sign up again. If you hadn't signed up before, certainly go to the website and get in there. It's a great program. Next year we will have a dedicated funding source from premium taxes that we already pay as consumers to fund the program. I'm excited about that. That shows that Louisiana is committed to this fortified program. And then also remember, if you choose to put a fortified roof on yourself, you can get a $10,000 tax deduction.
Yeah.
You can get, there's another law that was passed this year that will allow you to claim up to a $10,000 tax credit, but that program is capped at $1 million. So once they've authorized $1 million worth of tax credits, then that portion shuts down for the year.
For those that aren't in the fortified roof, that if they're not in that category, there are other things they could be doing to help reduce cost overall. Tell me about what is a wind mitigation survey and what does it do?
And I appreciate your mentioning that. The wind mitigation survey is a very valuable tool for homeowners. You can go to the department website. It will steer you where to go to find an inspector. You have to pay for an inspection up front, and I think it's somewhere around $300. You pay, an inspector comes out. They look at the construction of your home. And back after we had Laura's hurricanes Katrina and Rita, the state of Louisiana adopted statewide building codes, and they were much more stringent than prior years. So we build better homes. A lot of homes have this new construction in it. The way the roof is attached to the frame, the way the frame's attached to the foundation. There's certain building characteristics. You get an inspector come out, they look and see, and then they give you a piece of paper that has the survey, and it shows what your home has. You take that to your insurance company, and there are discounts that they have filed for this construction type. 2 weeks ago, there was a radio show host in New Orleans, and he was talking about he had just gotten his done, saves him $2,800 a year. These are just things that his home has had and has had for several years.
Yeah.
He didn't just do it last year, the year before. These are things that his home has had for years, but he will get that discount now every year going forward. And so, wind mitigation survey, I'd encourage your listeners, if you haven't had one done, get one. But it also highlights that in Louisiana, I said we have statewide building codes, but we have individual parish inspection process.
Okay.
And that's one thing that we need to look at as a state. We need to get a more unified approach to make sure that homes that are built to these new standards are built to these new standards.
We got Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple in with us. There are so many different ways to save money right now that wind mitigation. How would it further advance if we were to move to statewide on that front?
Look, how
would it make the wind mitigation survey that much more effective? I mean, to have it unified.
Yeah, well, it would, but the inspection process would ensure that every home is built to that, so you would get it on the front end. To me, it would, I guess at the end of the day, it would decrease the need to get a wind mitigation survey if we had that information known up front when the house is built, or if you're doing a major remodel when that's done. So we're going to have some conversations with the Building Code Council on that and get their help to try and have a more resilient home building stock, if you will.
Okay.
We have the codes we've adopted. Louisiana is always an early adopter of the newest, the latest and greatest building codes.
Yeah.
We've just got to make sure that homes and commercial properties as well are built to those standards.
Last thing before we get you out of here, when I was doing my show from y'all's conference, one of the things that you had told me about homeowners insurance was shop around. And look, I took that to heart. Called my buddy Jay over at Coastal Louisiana Insurance, and I'm saving close to 50% annually on what I was paying before now. I mean, it's the opportunities are out there.
They're out there, Brian. They're real. I hear it all the time. I get it on phone calls from people around the state. But look, and I was in Houma last Friday, and I had people coming up to me, giving me their real life examples of saving premiums, either through reductions they saw with their current carrier, or, and you hear it more frequently, by shopping and changing carriers. Look, insurance it's a competitive business like anything else. If they want you to do business with them, the insurance companies know that they have to give you at least the same product for a lower premium if you want to go do business with them. So shop your insurance, call your independent agent. They have access to multiple companies, direct writers, those agents. You go to them too, and get everybody competing against each other.
He is Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple. We always appreciate the time, sir. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are coming up we're at 7:50 right now at Talk 107.3 FM. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from the break, we'll check traffic, and then we'll continue next on Talk 107.3. Awesome. Yeah. There needs to. I know it's because of fewer accidents, but that good faith that's in there has to play a role in it. You can't quantify it to say how much of it is because we're working, but there's no physical number, right? And they did, and that's. We're gonna have to cut him. I love it. That's great. The whole reason for open. So excited for him. Well, he bailed on me last Thursday. Kill the mic. No, I love it. 7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along. Thanks to Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple for stopping by. You know, had Blake Miguez on the phone. You know what I forgot to mention to him? I forgot to ask him who's doing his sign work here in Baton Rouge. And you know where I'm going with this. I'm going straight to 5-Star Printing and Signs at 271-4096. 271-4096. Blake is looking to get his name out statewide. There's nobody better to do that than Danny and his team at 5-Star Printing and Signs. They're here for your business. Absolutely. Here for your business to get noticed, right? Whether you're talking about vehicle wraps or banners or decals. But when it comes to the political signs, when it comes to the old political landscape, this is, it's his bread and butter. Dude knows what he's doing on this front, to be sure. Hey, look, trust him implicitly with business cards, with signage, with menus, with brochures. Absolutely. When it comes to the merch over at 5-Star Printing and Signs, 5-Star Printing and Signs on their website, when it comes to the merch, yes, put your logo out there. Branding is important. But on the political front, nobody better. Nobody better out there. Check them out online at printshop5.com or give them a call at 271-4096 for 5-Star Printing and Signs. Back in our first hour, Attorney Franz Borghardt was in for Legally Served. We were talking with Franz about the possibility of Angola becoming the home for the worst of the worst. Our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network, we're doing a story on this as well, talking about Governor Landry, U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, Attorney General Pam Bondi are all going to announce this afternoon that Angola will house ICE detainees. Our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network talk with Greg LaRose. He's the editor for the Louisiana Illuminator. He says the ICE detainees would be housed at Camp J.
According to the governor's office, this will be for the worst of the worst ICE arrestees. This Camp J at one time was a maximum security facility.
Apparently formerly known as the dungeon, because inmates with disciplinary issues would be held there in solitary confinement. Now, this has been closed since 2018. However, LaRose says in late July, the governor declared a state of emergency so expedited repairs can be done over at the camp.
Prior to 2018, Camp J held about 400 incarcerated persons. We don't know if in this remodeling that capacity's changed.
So Louisiana has nine ICE processing detention centers. LaRose says Louisiana has become a go-to location for the Trump administration since it placed a heightened emphasis on immigration enforcement.
Knowing that judges here are more likely to rule in their favor in terms of expedited deportations, extended hold time.
I'm waiting on the press conference. I do want a lot more information on the details of this and how it's going to play out in real time. Because the back and forth that can be talked about over whether or not we should or should not be singling out this particular sect, this particular chunk of folks. And the conversation we had with Franz last hour about, and this, I was shocked on his take on the subject, but if you're looking at deporting people, just deport them. But if you're looking at, meting out justice, that's a whole different story. Either way, I believe we're capable of it and should be able to handle it right in our own backyard if the crimes are happening here. We got just a couple seconds before we have to hit news at the top of the hour. I want to remind you, Talk 107.3 is your new home for Ken Trahan's original prep football report. Get live in-game updates, a full statewide scoreboard, check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state and more. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m. It all starts this Friday, September 5th on Talk 107.3 FM. We'll talk with Ken Trahan Friday morning and then have the show for you Friday night. 8:06. Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. 2 hours down, 1 hour to go here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. We are starting off your third hour slightly warmer. We were at 70 to start off the second hour. That's bumped all the way up to 72 degrees. Still, I'll take it. On our way to 91 before the day is over today. We got a busy hour this hour. Can't waste any time at all. We got a busy hour this hour. We got LSU's Alumni Association is going to be in the next segment. Whole association. No. We got Lauren and Joe stopping by in our next segment. And Congresswoman Julia Letlow will be on the hotline at 8:35 for a little DC Current presented by LABI. We have This Day in History coming your way in just a second, but I do need 60 seconds to remind you about the folks from Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is their website, LandmarkBankLA.com. Founded in 1897 as a community bank, and here in 2025, they remain true to their mission, still a community bank. Now they've grown to a few more communities. You'll find them in and around, well, you'll find them around Baton Rouge right now, in Zachary and Denham, I believe, over the west side in Brewley. If you want a full list of the locations, check out LandmarkBankLA.com. And what I love about a community bank is the relationship you can have with your banker. Some of the big boys out there, you can get lost in the shuffle if you're a small business. You can get lost in the shuffle with your personal banking. They're huge, no fault of their own, but when you are with a community bank, you have a banker, someone that can personally walk you through your hopes, wants, dreams, and desires. Someone that can make sure you are getting from point A to point B, whether it be, your checking and savings or borrowing or investing. They can make sure that you are taken care of on a one-on-one basis. Check them out online at landmarkbankla.com. Right now, This Day in History. Let's go. All right, Stevie.
All right, bruh.
What happened, boss?
301 AD. A lot of people remember this, but San Marino is founded, becoming the world's oldest republic. It's still in existence, but has yet to win a Super Bowl, even though it's got Hall of Fame numbers.
301 AD.
Yeah.
San Marino was founded.
Yeah.
Currently has as many rings as the Falcons.
That is correct.
Okay.
23, never forget.
That's Let's go.
All right. 1189, Richard the Lionheart is crowned King of England.
Yeah.
It's a big title.
Pretty big title.
1650, Oliver Cromwell defeats Scottish forces at the Battle of Dunbar.
Battle of Dunbar.
Uh-huh.
That was Cromwell. Take Cromwell in the over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what Bruce said.
Let's
he
was there.
He was there. 1777.
Such an inside joke.
The U.S. flag flies in the battle for the first time at Couch's Bridge, Delaware. This word I don't want to say. It's COOCH''S. I just don't know the
Cooch?
proper spelling.
Cooches?
I guess, and that's why I was trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
Look in your history books.
Well, yeah. Well,
Uncle
I don't
Kate's
think
not
that
gonna
was in
say
my
that.
history book
Yeah.
because there would have been drawings next to it.
1783, the Treaty of Paris is signed. Great. Officially ending the American Revolutionary War.
Very cool.
Yep. 1928, Alexander Fleming discovers penicillin. That's important.
That is important.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Charlie Sheen.
Wait, are we on birthdays already?
That's where I'm at, yeah.
Okay, so I wanted two more on the This Day in History front.
Yeah.
This day in 1609, Henry Hudson found the Hudson River.
How about that?
I know. Like, he found it as like, this is the Hudson River? Are we here?
What bad luck. He gets named after the river.
I know. He found a river named after himself. That was incredible luck right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that one, and
was his middle name Sully?
No.
Oh.
No. Henry Hudson landed there first.
There you go.
The other one was a death, so we'll get to it in a little bit. Who you have for birthdays?
So I mentioned Charlie Sheen. Shaun White, Olympic snowboarder.
Okay.
Let's see. Red Foo. Am I saying
No
that right?
kidding, from LMFAO.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, I can appreciate they got in, got out, and made their money. It was the two guys that were basically producers, right?
And I think they were like Quincy Jones's nephews.
Yeah, a little fun.
A little party rock, a little sexy, and I know it.
Mhm.
And then but they had a couple of them that were like before that. I'm not going to remember the name of it now.
It'll come to us later.
Yeah.
This is an actor from The Sopranos, and I'm having trouble with the last name. Steve Shripia?
Sharippa.
Shrippa. Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
Bobby Bacala.
There was recently a member of The
Bobby
Sopranos that passed last
Bacciari.
week.
Really?
Was it? I saw it come through the news last week, and I don't know if he was a limited character or not. But
you were required by law. If there's something about The Sopranos, it's got to be reported in the show. So it's Bobby Bacala's birthday.
There you go.
Also,
before I get to this, is there any?
he
other
was also on
birthdays?
Blue Bloods, where he
Ooh.
played Tony Abadamarco.
Nice.
Because Bobby Bacala is not an Italian enough name.
Right. Yeah.
Abadamarco is where he's got to go from there.
Yeah. Tiramisu.
Yeah.
Any other birthdays you have?
Yeah. On the sports front, I got two that I wanted to. I got one more that I wanted to add on there.
Okay.
You remember Jenny Finch, softball player?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's her birthday today.
How about that?
Yeah. Deaths?
Oh yeah, Michael Clark Duncan from the Green Mile.
yeah.
Probably what he's most notably known for. Big, gigantic guy, sweet guy. That was tough. He died certainly way too young. Oliver Cromwell, English military and political leader. Interestingly enough. Vince Lombardi.
Vince Lombardi.
Most known for being a relative of a former Saints assistant, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. E. Cummings, renowned American poet,
Okay.
born on this day, and Thai Trung, actress known as the Yellow Ranger in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, died in 2001.
The Yellow Ranger died on this day in 01.
That is correct.
That's insane.
And I would say that the internet doesn't lie.
I would go with that as well.
That was a time when that was a hit. Video games crossed over a lot. Mortal Kombat crossed over a lot.
Yeah.
And, so, man, that was an interesting time of television for a youngster.
Well, I mean, can we collectively look back and agree that the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were stupid?
The animation or the action, it looks very
Doesn't
phony.
hold up.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it
hold
just
up.
doesn't.
You have a national day for today?
You know what? I do not.
I have National Skyscraper Day, so we'll roll with that.
Oh, good, because we can celebrate that here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a couple of them.
With the Chase Building or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Call
fair
it state. You call it state capital. It's
I
the
would
tallest,
say
the
state
tallest
capital,
state
for sure.
capital in America.
That
It
is-
is. We can call that a skyscraper.
100%. I think that holds
Absolutely.
up anywhere else in the country.
Same. 814 to Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hey, Talk 107.3, along with First American Bank and Trust, are teaming up to honor our military and raise funds for Folds of Honor. This nonprofit organization provides scholarships to the spouses and children of soldiers who were killed or disabled in service. To donate to this important cause, visit our website at talk1073.com. Folds of Honor, to honor their sacrifice and educate their legacy. Quick break. LSU Alumni Association's up next. 817 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to dive in and talk with the folks from the LSU Alumni Association. We have got Lauren Giffen and Joe Carvalito in with us. How y'all doing this morning?
Hey, Brian.
Wonderful.
Let's get you a little bit closer
Little
up
bit
on
closer
it.
here?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that mic set, so that's my normal mic, and I move over when we have two guests, and I'm a lot more, what's the word?
Boisterous?
Bellicose? Yes.
Animated.
Talk about bellicosity. Yeah.
I understand.
So I'm a lot of caffeine. That's what I am. So, how are things? What's just a general state of affairs at the Alumni Association these days?
Things are amazing, Brian. To be quite honest with you, I took over about 2.5 years ago. I've been on campus for about 25 years.
Okay.
Worked at Tiger Athletic Foundation, women's basketball in the early years with Simone Augustus was there.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a lot of success, a lot of fun. And but in 2.5 years, we've turned things around a little bit from where they were prior to COVID, all that kind of stuff. And we own a hotel on campus. We have an alumni center, but we're an alumni association. So we're everything what's great about LSU and what people remember about being at LSU.
The lodge is awesome. I love the hotel. I love the Alumni Center. We have company meetings there from time to time. It's a fantastic underrated facility. I don't think we need more people to know about it.
That we talk about that a lot. We
Yeah.
actually just hired some sales folks to bring in some people there. It is a beautiful facility. We have a ton of parking over there,
Yeah.
which you can't find in event centers around town. So it's a nice place to come.
Well, the cool thing at LSU is they comp your parking these days anyway, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think
They
Sore
waived all
subject.
of it.
I saw that story somewhere.
How about that?
Sore subject.
I think that's only for students.
All right.
Okay.
Y'all do have a lot going on, but when you talk about turning things around, where were they?
So post-COVID, things financially became a little bit of a struggle for the Alumni Association when you own a hotel, because it does feed back in and helps with the finances of the Alumni Association. So the hotel's really back on good footing, especially with all the traveling that's going on. But obviously LSU football, LSU baseball, women's basketball, all those things feed into it. Fans come, stay on the campus. Our enrollment's up. Parents are coming in, staying on campus. Being the on-campus hotel, and not just for alumni, is it's great. I mean, you have beautiful lakes. Not currently, but they're getting there. They're getting there.
It's visible. The difference is visible now. They're not done yet, but
Right.
you're starting to see what it's gonna look
The
like.
walking paths. Yeah,
Oh,
it's going to
yeah.
be really nice.
The
Yeah.
light at the end of the tunnel for the lakes is really going to be what everybody remembers great about those lakes, and it's beautiful there.
What are some of the bigger challenges for the Alumni Association right now?
Great question. So one of the things that we have a challenge of is, everybody seems to think that the Alumni Association is their grandparents' Alumni Association, just a membership-based organization. We're much bigger than that. We have started networking events for Tigers Helping Tigers. We've kind of transformed to the A&M model a little bit, where they're very much an Aggie helping an Aggie. They pull themselves out of school and pluck themselves into jobs. And so that's kind of where we started with this business membership. So we have the LSU business membership that we have now, where it's businesses helping businesses, Tigers helping Tigers, supporting the LSU Tiger members who are business owners in the community, but from afar too. If you're in Seattle and you want to know if there's a restaurant for an LSU business that's open there, you can go to Seattle and you can go to that restaurant, patronize that. So those type of things where we feel like we can help LSU alumni businesses.
I want to dig a little bit deeper in that in just a minute on that business connection end. But I would be remiss if we didn't start from the very beginning. What's the mission of the LSU Alumni Association?
The mission of the Alumni Association is for us to best help LSU alumni to put them in positions to be successful and be at the 30,000 foot level. Like we were talking about earlier, there's a lot of things at LSU happening right now, but we need to stay at the 30,000 foot level and remember everything for that alum, what's good and what they remember best about LSU.
We talk a lot about how the Alumni Association is the window back into the university. So once you leave, we are the way to connect back to each other, right, and to the university. So we have these platforms that can put people together across the country, LSUTigerNation.com. We want to keep Tiger Nation connected under the umbrella of the Alumni Association, whether that's you want to join a chapter across the country, you want to promote your business, you want to hire Tigers, you want to go to a crawfish boil, you want to find a watch party in your city. We are encompassing everything that alums remember about the university, like Joe said.
I'm going to ask you a stupid question. Is that harder in Louisiana?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
No, background on that question is look, I'm from the greater New Orleans area. You ask somebody where they went to school, St. Paul's. Well, you're going to give your high school first, and I went to LSU as well. But like that, the general connection right there is we are deep rooted.
Sure.
So you come, your answer is going to be where you come from home, right?
Sure. And quite frankly, LSU, a lot of people have their networks here.
Yeah.
They're built from LSU because they went here, but they don't necessarily lean back on us as much until we're now getting into this business network. But when you go to the Texases, the Southern Californias, whatever, leaning on that network is imperative for people. You want to find somebody under the LSU umbrella that you can do business with, that you can live with if you've just moved out there. So there's different ways. I mean, here in Baton Rouge, we have our strengths. In Louisiana, we have our strengths. There are other strengths across the country. It just depends on what you need.
And to answer that question a little bit further, too, I mean, we're kind of envious of the Catholic highs, of the Rummels, of the Jesuits, because they have such a strong base and affiliation and engagement with their alums. It is harder because you get the good news of LSU in Louisiana, you get the bad news of LSU. So you get everything. It's kind of like just like about everything else, right? And it ebbs and flows with not only education, but as you well know, with LSU football.
Okay, let me ask you about another challenge here, and I don't know if this is an actual challenge or not, but LSU is huge. How do you take something that big and make it personal?
Ooh.
That's a great question. One of the bigger things for us is getting into the student body before they even get to campus. So one of the things we do is we send our staff out to high school senior send-offs in different cities and different areas to be part, as the Alumni Association, be part of their orbit before they even get to LSU. Then we hired an on-campus coordinator. We want all the things at LSU. We want to be involved in those things. So we have a young lady who just handles on-campus stuff. So we want the Alumni Association to be present in their lives. And then one of the things we've talked about recently is working with the Career Center. How do we help LSU alums and mentorship and get kids jobs at post-graduation? And so when you have that kind of scenario, you're ingrained in their lives at that point. And I believe I may not see it in my lifetime, but I think the formulation and timeline will help benefit some of these kids as they are in school right now.
So you got to start with alumni before they're alumni.
That's right.
That's correct.
Before they're even current students.
That's correct.
And there's a whole look. I've got my oldest graduated high school last year, and there's a whole world of other universities just flinging money this way.
Right. So
throwing
don't you
love
want to
this
go
way.
somewhere that you're going to get a job post-graduation, probably with a strong alumni network?
Yeah.
I mean, Joe said A&M. I wasn't going to name the name, but
well.
that is what they're known for, is their strong network of alumni where they help each other. And that's what we're trying to build here. I mean,
and through our bylaws, to that point, to your point, is if you went to LSU for a semester, you're an alum. You're considered an alum.
Yeah.
Like the A&M is considered the Association of Former Students because of their war background, and kids went off to war, and so that even if they were there for a short period of time, they were still considered an alum. And we had that same, as the old war school, we had that same affiliation, and through our bylaws, you're considered an alum. So I encourage anybody to take a class at least.
Joe Carvalito, Lauren Giffen from the LSU Alumni Association with us. Okay, let's go back into the business membership. What does it entail? How do people get involved?
So first of all, go to lsualumni.org/business network. So it's a couple different things. I talked about LSUTigerNation.com. That is essentially our platform that we're about to build up. It's like LinkedIn for Tigers, right?
Okay.
So you can go on LinkedIn and you can search LSU or whatever and find some affiliation. But when you go to this website, LSUTigerNation.com, you're going to find folks in there across the country that are looking to hire, looking to connect with people, looking to mentor. So that's step one. If you want to get on our general business listing, right, you can go on the business network on LSUTigerNation.com and look up what Tiger businesses there are out there across the country.
Okay.
You can look regionally, geographically, and by business if you want to. So you can sign up for a free membership there online and just make sure people know what your business is out there across the country. Then you get into the paid memberships where the Alumni Association has an audience of over 100,000 people across the country. We want to promote your business, right? And so in order to do that, you sign up for a purple or gold membership, and then we start talking about who you are, what you do, telling your story, and calling out Tigers across the country to support that. It's great for, attorneys trying to build their book of business, insurance agents, real estate agents, banking. Guarantee Media is a part of it with us.
Yeah.
They're trying to get their digital marketing out there. We want to talk about that. It's a great platform for us.
Very cool stuff. We got about 3 minutes left. Talking with the LSU Alumni Association. Y'all get on the road a good bit. The Traveling Tigers are out there. Just got back. Okay, I'm gonna ask you this. You run away from me if you want. I dislike everything about Clemson after this past week. Like literally, like they left the football stadium, got on buses, and went to the football stadium. Like, what is that? Tell me about the Traveling Tigers trip.
The Traveling Tigers trips are incredible. It's very personalized to you. Brandon Greer does a great job for us. You can call her at any time. You go to lsualumni.org, and you can get on the Traveling Tigers webpage there. And we have trips to Vanderbilt, Alabama, and Oklahoma still. There are trips still to Oklahoma. We have a lot of plane tickets left, and some hotel rooms. We've never been there before. But even more so, we throw great tailgates. We had a lot of fun up in Clemson. Obviously, a win makes it even more special.
Yeah.
But
the great part about the Traveling Tigers is that we do everything for you, right? So Brian Wesley he owns Wesley Construction here in town. He's an avid traveler with us, and he got stopped at the airport for a WAFB interview or whatever it was, and they were like, "Well, how much planning did you do for this?" And he was like, "None, not at all. Like I just hit the button. I paid for everything. We take care of your flights, your hotel, your tailgate tickets, your game tickets, your transportation, like everything."
Awesome.
So
it
it's
is
just really
it is thoughtless. If that's a term to
you
use.
just get on and go.
I mean, you show up and then you get off the plane and you go home.
And you have a good time.
And you had a great time in between, and we plan everything else in between.
We can't guarantee a win, but
Well, I mean, we're getting closer to being able to do
there
that.
you go.
A little bit closer to being able to do that for sure.
Our defense is guaranteeing some wins.
And that's within the football season. I mean, y'all are there, all 12 months of the year.
That's true.
Right.
And we also have like European trips that you can travel with Tigers together. So I know there's a lot to do, and we could talk about this forever. We have something for every age demographic, right? If you're going into LSU, if you're in LSU, if you're a recent graduate, if you're starting a business, if you want to give back philanthropically, like we have something for every age. And it's just about getting our message out there.
Love it. We are unfortunately out of time. But like you said, we could talk about this forever because the conversation is just getting rolling here. There are so many different other angles that I want to paths to explore with this. But in the meanwile, thank y'all so much for a couple minutes this
Brian,
morning.
so much.
Joe, Lauren, thank y'all so much. We've got ABC News coming your way in about 20 seconds from right now. Local news, traffic, weather on the back end. The folks at Louisiana Business and Industry bring you DC Current every single week. Congresswoman Julia Letlow slated to join us from Washington, D.C. They got back to work yesterday. How are things going today? We'll talk with her next. No, play the regular open. No, play a regular bumper. Come back to me. I'm a bang out a live or a promo, one of the two. So I'm behind on both. There she is. Yeah. .837 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Going back to the hotline in just a second. Do need to remind you, the Louisiana Business Weekly podcast is your source for the latest in Louisiana's business landscape. It is business owners telling business stories of victory, stories of defeat, stories of lessons learned along the way as they've grown their business. And of course, the podcast for business is brought to you by the Business Bank. That would be Currency Bank. Or you can get Louisiana Business Weekly on all your favorite platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. You can also catch every episode at talk1073.com. All right, right about now, it is time for DC Current, presented by LABI. We go back to Washington, D.C., because she went back to Washington, D.C. Congresswoman Julia Letlow on the hotline. How are you?
Hey, Brian. I am doing well. How are you?
I'm very well on this end as well. So Labor Day clears, and you got to get back into the fight, huh?
I tell you what, yes, we are back up here running, but it was so good to be back in Louisiana for August, visiting with constituents. You know, just really taking a beat to listen what's on people's minds. It's what I love most about my job. Brian, I hit every corner of the district over August, touring businesses, addressing chamber meetings, and sitting down with constituents. But now it's time to get back to Washington. We got a lot of important issues on the table, starting with government funding.
Let's start with government funding. We'll get to a couple of other things after that, because I think there's a number of things that are top of mind, to be sure. But let's start with government funding. What are we looking at as far as deadlines and actual potential of running out of time on this is?
Sure. So government funding expires on September 30th, and this is our major priority now that the big, beautiful bill has been passed. You know, Brian, as an appropriator, I want to do our job and pass all 12 individual bills. We want to be fiscally responsible while taking care of critical needs like our veterans and national defense. You know, I'm up here in committee markups this week doing the work to get as many of those funding bills as possible. We have passed 9 out of the 12 appropriations bills through my committee. The Senate is doing their work as well. Hope springs eternal that we can get this done, but As you know, September 30th is quickly approaching, so I know leadership is looking for other avenues as well. But as an appropriator, I want to do my job and get it across the finish line.
How is it that we're always in this cycle? Like we saw the big beautiful bill make its way through. How is it that we can't solve the problem of funding government for a longer chunk of time to where you're not constantly with your back against the wall?
It's incredibly frustrating. I'll say it again. As an appropriator, that is my number one goal and job. You know, I think when you have majorities that are slim and you have to work across the aisle, sometimes that can be an impediment to actually getting it done. But again, that is what the people send us to Congress to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to make sure that I'm doing my part to make sure that we can get those funding bills across the finish line and return to regular order. You know, the American people don't understand why we can't get this across the finish line. If you have to create a budget for your own home, for your own household, why shouldn't the federal government be doing that as well? So that's incredibly frustrating to me, and I want to put an end to that.
We got Congresswoman Julia Letlow on with us. This is DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. All right, Congresswoman, let's talk tactics for just a little bit when it comes to funding our federal government. You're on the House side. Meanwhile, on the other side, Senator Schumer has already has been very outspoken in not wanting to get on board with what Republicans are doing. How does that affect your job? Does that factor into it on the front end, or do you work to pass what you want to pass and let the chips fall where they may?
Yeah, we pass what we need to pass over here. The Senate will concurrently be working on their bills as well. And then hopefully we can all come to the table, find some commonality. That's up to leadership over there and our leadership as well. And then get these bills to conference where they can find a way to the president's desk. So, leadership has a major play in this role. That's above my pay grade. I'm not in leadership, but definitely want to do my part to get it across the finish line.
What's your prognosis? I mean, crystal ball this for me. Are we looking at a huge fight?
There always is.
Oh, that's true. That's so true.
There always is. I guess that's the way the founding fathers set it up. But hopefully cooler minds will prevail and will provide the funding that our federal government needs. It's a matter of national security. We have to get defense across the finish line, too.
We got Congresswoman Julia Letlow on with us. I want to pivot over to something that I kind of want to pick your brain on as we're looking at the president made an announcement yesterday that the National Guard would be going into Chicago. This is on the heels of the National Guard going into D.C. Can you talk to me a little bit about, like, from your perspective, the crime issues in D.C., and do they have a trickle-up effect on Congress and the overall conversation?
Yeah, I'm glad President Trump is doing something about the crime mess. Washington, D.C. should be a safe place for people to visit and for local residents just like me who have to walk to work. But that hasn't been the case of late. D.C. has focused on defunding the police and catering to the far left at the expense of public safety. I support President Trump's actions. And ever since the federal surge, violent crimes like homicides and robberies and Brian carjackings have sharply declined. We've seen even the local government here, it has to admit that it's working. So, hey, I'm all for it. And if this has worked in D.C., why not head to Chicago and other places that are suffering from violent crime?
So Chicago's not making the best case for itself with 54 shootings over the last weekend. But is there room for the argument that, like, we are not just one America, we're the United States of America? And like, is there room for the argument that there needs to be some sort of collaboration?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. Let's put our brilliant minds together and come up with a way to make our communities safer. I think concerned parents all across this country are calling for that. So if you see it work in one area, why can't we build out a network, if you will, of a plan that will actually benefit the entire United States of America? I'm with you on that, Brian.
I got to ask you, since you got back, how's it looking? I mean, did we see any effects? I mean, is it visible?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, it's something in the air. You just feel that it's safer. And, I'm going to walk back home tonight after a long series of votes. And you just feel that it just feels a bit safer. I'll tell you that.
Well, and I think one of the things that we tend to forget outside of Washington, D.C. is that D.C. is a big place. Like, there's going to be a concentration around Capitol Hill. But like,
Yeah.
is the same true in, Foggy Bottom or Georgetown? Like, how does this spread away from the Hill itself?
I'm hearing from friends who live in those areas that yes, they are feeling it as well. And I'll just have to go check it out myself and see. But there were so many even in really okay areas where carjackings and just the crime was out of control. A lot of my friends and members of our team live in the Navy Yard, for example, where they didn't even feel safe walking out to their cars. So. I'm excited about what this means for D.C. and our nation's capital, and for people to come up and visit too. They can feel safe coming here.
Talk with Congresswoman Julia Letlow. Yeah, so like, for example, Washington Mardi Gras is over right next to Adams Morgan, which is another neighborhood or area or whatever. I don't think I've ever felt unsafe there. I guess it's just one of the better parts of town, but it's a stark reminder that there's more to Washington D.C. than just the White House, the Capitol, and the mall.
Absolutely. And now you can come and hopefully stay anywhere in Washington, D.C. and feel like you're in the Capitol bubble, if you will.
What else is going to be, I'm not going to phrase it that way. I'm just going to straight up ask it. How much oxygen are the Epstein files going to suck out of the room?
Hopefully not. One thing that I think is going underreported is that our Committee on Oversight is doing incredible work of trying to release as many files as possible, get that information. Transparency is key here. I think that's what the American people are demanding. That's what I want to see as well. We have to protect the victims, of course, but finding a way to do that and doing our good work on the congressional side, I think people are overlooking that they are hard at work to make sure that transparency is given to the American people when it comes to the Epstein files. So I think the more we focus on that, the more satisfaction the American people will receive in making sure that those files are released.
What's your level of confidence that they will be?
I'm hopeful. Oversight published 33,000 last night. Brian, files that the American people can go through. So I think that hopefully as those files are released, people, again, will be satisfied with what Congress is doing.
We've got about 2 minutes left with Congresswoman Julia Letlow. I really want to pivot here, and this has been, we just had the LSU Alumni Association on our last segment. Congresswoman, your name has been thrown around a little bit as the potential next president for Louisiana State University. I'm sure you've been hearing about this a little bit, if not a lot more than a little bit. I want to just give you the floor, open-ended. How much are you talking about this? How much is it being talked about? What's your level of interest in the job, and are you going to be the next president?
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian, for giving me a moment to clear the air. I've prayed about it. I've decided that now is not the right time to pursue the presidency of LSU. Gosh, it has been humbling, to say the least, to be mentioned as a candidate. My background, we've talked about it so many times here, is in higher education. Gosh, it's my passion, education. I talk about it all the time, but for now, I need to stay focused on representing the 5th district, where, Brian, I have the honor of representing LSU in Congress and on the Appropriations Committee. There is so much more good work that can be accomplished for the university right here in D.C., and I also serve on the Health Education and Workforce Committee, so I will continue to be in the trenches fighting for a better education for our students. But thank you for giving me the platform to just kind of share my heart about that.
No, you've got the background in education, and I've heard your name on this topic more than once. I figured it would be appropriate to throw it out there.
Thank you so much for that. And again, a humbling experience to have your name in the mix for the flagship university of the state. But I feel like there's so much more I can do right now in D.C.
She is Congresswoman Julia Letlow. We always appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep, absolutely. Talk to you soon. We're coming up on 850 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Of course, DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. You can learn more about them at labi.org. I'm looking at the schedule of events for LABI. Boy, they're going to have a number of meetings coming up in the very near future. And not too far down the road, coming up in October, look out for the Workers' Compensation Conference. I'll be doing my show live from there. Here's your money now. Fascism. I mean, I'm trying not to be a fascist. I'm more hung up on my own fatism. I gotta squeeze 2 live reads in this last segment. Right. Do what? Yeah. Happens all the time. Oh, the first time it happens to you, it's the weirdest thing. Yeah. On our first house, it happened like 6 times. By the way, for those that are still on the, for those in the glorified crew that are still in the chat, if you were here in the 6 o'clock hour, Franz would talk about ICE immigration putting a hold on people, and every time he said ICE hold, all I could think of was Johnny Dangerously. What was that? What was that character's name in Johnny Dangerously? Maroney, Roman Maroney. All I could think of was Roman Maroney with you fucking ice holes. Every time he said ice hold, I'd laugh. And it was distracting him, and I needed to stop, but I couldn't stop. Put an ice hold on them. In the house tonight. Keep it up. Bring it up. Wait till it drop. Blast so fire hot when it was out. The dancing that went with it. I mean, oh, unbelievable stuff. Happy birthday, Red Foo. Cade, quick question. Do you know the other one? One is Red Foo. Who's the other one?
I don't know.
Sky Blue.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why any 48-year-old man would know that. I needed to be about 10 years younger. Because then I would have been right in that groove, right?
That was that one. I mean, they had a couple of hits, but it was one release, like one album, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but I mean, it was like it's total club time, so you'd have 10 different albums, but it was like that part that real hardcore, height of the Jersey Shore, type
Gym,
of
Tan and Laundry kind of thing.
GTL life, baby.
Yeah.
You gotta love that. And yeah, they did a song with a Pitbull at one point.
Mr. Worldwide?
Mr. World, but he was still Mr. 305 at the time.
Oh, he hadn't quite crossed.
No, he wasn't full on Mr. Worldwide just yet. LMFAO. They had
Still Armando?
that one. They had Sexy and I Know It.
That's
Shots.
what it is. Yeah,
They had
were part
Shots
of that,
with Lil Jon.
which has carried over into various
They had
other
I'm in Miami.
Okay, yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
They did the theme to Jersey Shore.
Did they? Okay.
Get crazy. Get wild.
Oh, that
Let's
was them.
party. Yeah, it's them.
Okay, so
Why are we reliving? Because it's Red Foo's birthday. That's why we're walking down the path of the
was he
greatness
like 32 today?
that was LMFAO. No, you watch. He's probably like 50. I still gotta find the one they redid a Fergie song, Clumsy. They did like a club version of Clumsy. It was awesome. Yeah. We're gonna run out of time today. Got to remind you about the folks over at Neurojust. Neurojust.com is the website. Neurojust. Love what they do. Love their mission over there at Neurojust. So if you battle with anxiety or depression, you know how constant and invasive it is, and you know how exhausting that can be. You know that battle of constantly having like just 6-foot waves in your head all the time. It's fight or flight. The anxiety that is fight or flight, when it becomes ever present, that's what turns it into depression, because the fight or flight gets inescapable. Well, if traditional therapy hasn't worked for you, prescription meds maybe aren't your thing, check out neurojust.com, Neurojust, neurojust.com. What they do is it's called transcranial magnetic stimulation. TMS therapy is what it's called. It is non-invasive. It is FDA approved. And they've got the receipts, man. 70% showing results. Learn more at neurojust.com. We're supposed to do the outside in here, but I totally missed in our sports segment to mention LSU's rise in the rankings. After just one weekend of playing football, your Tigers are now number 3 in the Associated Press Top 25, number 4 in the college coaches poll. Unbelievable jump. Worthwhile to be sure. All right, we're all out of time. Moon's coming up next. We will be back at it tomorrow with another full slate. I owe Vex European a spot. Damn it. All right, Facebook. We will see y'all tomorrow. Later.